Welcome to this special bonus episode of the Plexus Software blogcast. And today we're talking about our blog about implementing new software into your company. And we know that putting a new software into your company can be challenging. It brings disruption. Sometimes employees don't like that there's change because people don't like change. But obviously, we know it's an opportunity to bring good changes to the company. So today I just want to talk to Jared about kind of his perspective on bringing in a new software into a company and the challenges and how to overcome those challenges.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So I've had a decent amount of experience implementing software. I've worked with medical clinics and brought in medical electronic records, part of some of that first wave for small businesses to go paperless. And, there was some government grant money we had to get and hurdles to jump. And so that was probably my introduction into first bringing software into small business. Kind of first fell in love with it. The experiences from there go on to just even managing nowadays things like CRMs and Office 365 or G Suite, Google AdWords. There's just so many softwares out there. And
right.
honestly, implementing any of them is uncomfortable at best. It's a good way to describe it. It's a lot of work. So just having those experiences has really helped when it comes to implementing Plexus and what we do for our customers, just understanding there's other softwares companies are dealing with. This isn't their first time. There can be pushback from employees from failed attempts previously, pushback from owners when employees want to implement something. I know people who have spent $10,000 for a software, tried for 3 weeks to implement it themselves, back in the CD days, and shelved it. And you're just like, what's this? Oh, that's that thing we spent $10,000 on like 5 years ago that we couldn't figure out how to implement that was supposed to make us better. So nothing would be worse. And nothing would hurt. Like it would hurt me. I hate waste. And so I would really hate to do that to a customer. We have a limited experience where we had a customer who tried to kind of push something on employees. They just bought the company and they thought they could just kind of overhaul things. And they found out pretty quickly that they were going to have to pause and kind of rebuild morale. So the very first thing I tell anybody and ask them is, what's your company culture like? How receptive to change are they? We can help people and coach them through that. But needing to know, are we fighting the managers? Are we fighting the techs? Are we going to be fighting against the owners in this process as far as mentality goes? So once you kind of understand that, though, you can kind of put together a good game plan and help a company roll out stuff. And we're still learning things all the time, but it mostly has to do with communication. Speed is the next issue. The speed at which somebody can. Anytime somebody calls me and says, hey, I want to be on your software and I want to be on it in 3 weeks, I tell them find a different software. It's just not what we do. It's not going to go well. They have no idea what they're getting themselves into. We're not an out-of-the-box simple software. That's your $10,000 shelf CD situation.
Right. Too much change too quick, and it doesn't stick.
And it's just not going to happen. So timing is key. Culture to change is going to be a real big issue. And really that has a lot to do with, too, the way we go about doing it. Training. Making sure you have time to commit to learning and training can be key.
Right.
So those are probably the top 3 right off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, that makes sense of being able to focus on the culture, so that you know how to make that game plan, do the game plan, and then we work really hard to train them well.
They there's kind of always multiple levels as far as it goes, but for the most part, people tend to be comfortable kind of saying, you have your business outcome people, tends to be your owners or C-suite. They're really concerned about the business outcome. You just have to be able to address their concerns and know them throughout the implementation and be aware of them. If your managers or your processors, they really care about the processes.
Right.
how things go, where they go.
How do I get things done?
Yeah. How do I get it done? Who's in charge of what, when, how do I know it's getting overseen? So it's more about the process.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the tool-oriented people, which is more like your techs. They really care, how do I use this to do the thing that somebody else is making sure I'm doing?
Right.
In smaller companies, that kind of gets blended and mushed together, but for some of our bigger companies. So understanding those are distinct processes has been really useful for us too. And, having experience talking to each one of those groups of people and what they're concerned about. And we have really tight feedback loops. So we work closely with companies. So we're getting that feedback really fast so we can work that into our new training material or even our development.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a great sort of outline of how this works. And I like that breakup of the operators, the people who need the process, and the people who need the tool, and how each one of them.
Sure. Yeah. And almost everything I ever say is technically coming from something I've read or talked to somebody else. So
don't take full credit for that one.
But yeah, those are just great ways to look at systems when you're trying to implement software.
Right. Because you kind of get stuck on one, but then you leave the other ones upset.
Yeah. And the last thing, if you're going to demo or train somebody, you need to know what you need to be training them on and what you need to demo on.
Right. Great. Well, thank you, Jared, again for another conversation here on the blogcast and here this bonus episode. And we'll see you guys next time on the Plexus Podcast.